Every season is spooky season in our book.
So settle in and prepare to be shook.
You are listening to Shook, a comedic podcast about all things paranormal and unexplained.
Hey everybody, I'm Amanda.
And I'm Sannah.
Yeah,
Got
you got
any
a fun fact?
facts? Oh, I do.
Jinx.
I have. So my first one that I want to do is really best for on camera. So I'm sorry to those just listening, but you can still enjoy this. I got a mystery squishmallow. It's called Squishmallow's Mystery Squad. And I just wanted to open it here on the podcast and we can all find out what the mystery squishmallow is inside this container.
Oh my gosh, I can't wait.
Unboxing. Sorry for these noises. Sorry, Sannah in post. Oh my gosh. Y'all ready for this?
I'm ready.
Oh, cute. Oh,
What a
and it's like kind of
cutie.
Valentine's theme. It says XOXO, Gossip Girl.
Gossip Girl.
It's a llama, I think. Oh my god, and it has aviators, like retro stripe aviators. This is
I
the
love
cutest
it.
thing ever. This is gonna be another one of Pepper's new toys. So
Oh, I can't wait to watch him maul it to death. Just kidding.
he's very
Does he do that?
spoiled to have. Well, actually, with the squishmallows that I've gotten him, he lays on them like they're little pillows.
That's
He like lays
adorable.
his head on them. It's real sweet. Yeah, he's adorable. We love him. So that was like my very exciting, probably only to me, fun fact. Do you have a fun fact?
Well, I do. But did you want to did you want to tell the story
Oh,
about your Instagram name?
oh, yeah. So before we started recording, I was telling Amanda that I was thinking about changing my Instagram account username because it's Santa Marie, and Marie is not even my middle name.
Oh my god, it's a
So
pseudonym.
it's a pseudonym in the studio. I am a fraud. I'm a faker, but there is a reason why that is my name on there is because that used to be my nickname in middle school. My best friend Sean in middle school, he just called me Santa Marie. It was like an endearing
Oh,
like thing, and I liked it, and I used it as my username for like a lot of other things too
yeah.
at the time, and so I just haven't changed it. But also, fun fact, my real middle name is Denise, which is also my mom's middle name. So, yeah, we have the same middle name. And yeah, so I don't know. I might not change my username. I don't really feel like having to brainstorm what to change it to,
I
but
think Santa Maria is so cute. And also, one thing when you change your Instagram handle, it breaks all the links to anything you were like tagged in before. So if someone were to go on our Shook Instagram and then click the Santa Marie, it would just say user not found unless someone wanted to be a complete
oh,
faker. It's just a lot of
oh
extra
no.
work. I've only changed my
Well,
handle one
okay.
time.
Well, that's that. I'm not doing it then because I don't feel like doing all that. So, yeah, you don't have to tell me twice that it's a lot of hard work. I'm not doing it.
Say less, queen.
Yeah, right. Matter of fact, I believe I won't. Um,
Oh my god.
but that's all of the podcast friendly tea that I really have right now. Um,
I do have some tea, but it's not even piping hot tea. It's not even warm tea. Hell, it's not even lukewarm tea. It's stale, cold, ice cold tea.
I love cold
It's
tea. It's fine.
and I probably told you about this off the record, like off the podcast, but we're coming up on a year since this happened, and so I've been thinking about this. On the topic of Instagram, nice segue. About a year ago, I was especially active commenting and engaging with the Ghost Adventures crew on Instagram. And with that comes all the bots, you know? And
I get them too. I get them too, the
yeah,
follows.
yes. So there was one particular reel, and I made a pretty funny comment on it, I think. And then suddenly I was flooded with follows from all different versions of Zach and Billy and Aaron and all these folks, right? Well, one of them really thought he had me fooled. He trolled me. But you're going to learn here soon. I trolled him right back. So in my DMs, he slides in my DMs. He says, "Hi, beloved. It's me, Zach. Thanks, dear. I really appreciate your love and support for keep watching Ghost Adventures dot dot dot. I hope you never stop supporting me and watching my movies and also going to my shows too. Beloved fan," prayer emoji, heart emoji. "I was going through my official page, so I saw some few comments and I got attracted to yours. Then sign in to my personal page. I control and chat you up dot dot ghost emoji, heart face emoji." I replied, "Wow, the real Zach Bagans. Such an honor." Heart, black heart. But here's the kicker. I accidentally misspelled his name as Bangans. And I remember I was texting this to my sister Emily, and she goes, "Did you really mean to say Bangans?" And I was like, "Whoopsie." He kept going with it though. He says, "This account is timed and it could go off anytime soon. He just told me it was his personal account. I I created it mainly to acknowledge my fans and know what they think about me. I want to keep close friends to whom I desire." He wants to know what people think about him. I get it. I get it. That's very on brand. He says, "Thanks for liking my page and show. Hope you don't stop watching my movies and shows and supporting my dreams. I really appreciate your efforts. Thanks." Prayer emoji. So much one again, whatever that means. Smiley face. Prayer emoji. Prayer emoji. Heart. Prayer emoji. Smiley face. Prayer emoji. What? He just goes on and on. Clap, 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 clap emoji. Okay. And then I don't respond because that's just weird. He says, "Where are you from and how long have you been a fan watching Ghost Adventures and supporting my dreams?" And my screenshot, I'm so mad because I cut off part of it, but I mentioned Aaron because he's my fave, you know, and he just ignores it. He says, "Thanks for coming. Thanks for thanks for coming this long way with me. I really appreciate your effort. I really love you, beloved fan. God bless you." Prayer emoji, heart emoji. So,
Beloved fan.
beloved fan. "So what do you do for a living?" I said, "Of course." I said, "I work in marketing." He goes, "Oh, okay. I hope you never stop supporting me?" Question mark. I say, "I would never. Loyal fan right here." And then I said, "Give Aaron a big hug for me, please. He's an angel." He goes, "Sweet. Thanks. I will." He did not like that. So on brands. So I said, "Thanks. Is the museum currently open?" He says, "Yes, always." "What gives you happiness in life?" I said, "Awesome. Next time I'm in Vegas, I'll stop by." I said, "What gives me happiness? Honestly, Taco Bell, my cats, and all the creepy shit that this world has to offer." He hearts it and he says, "Are you married with kids?" I said, "Yes, I am married." And I lied. I said, "I am married and I have 8 kids. It sounds like a lot, but I manage." He goes, and mind you, I'm child free. He goes, "Oh, okay. But it not a problem to have 8 kids. I love kids." I said, "They're a handful, that's for sure." And so then I sent him this stock image of about 5 or 6 goat babies, also known as, you guessed it, kids. That is the term for a baby goat. And yeah, so he goes, "Cute." And then he calls me out. He goes, "Are you really in any relationship?" I said, "Yes, I'm a happily married gal. We got married in 2020. I said, "You can probably find my husband on here too. He loves Ghost Adventures." He doesn't actually, but you know. And that was that. But He really thought he had me. Hook, line, and
Oh
sinker.
my
No.
god.
These bots.
I hate those. I have so many of those follows too, like the fake Zach Bagans accounts.
Yeah.
We don't fall for that shit. He should have known as soon as you said something about digital marketing that you were not going to fall for that.
And yeah,
Idiot.
no. Nar. But yeah,
Idiot.
that's my fun fact, my super old fun fact that I keep forgetting to mention. I just thought it was appropriate because this is our Valentine's episode, and clearly he was trying to get in these DMs.
Yeah, he slid into your DMs. Like, you know what I would have said if he slid into my DMs like that? I would have been like, I'm telling Holly Madison
Ooh.
because I'm
Yep.
telling.
Telling.
I am telling. And then he would have been like, oh no. And he would have blocked
Mm.
me.
Blocked.
Just what I want.
Mwahaha.
To be blocked by Zach Baggins official one.
Zoc.
Because that's
Zoc Bangans.
it's always spelled kind of wrong, and then like lots of extra like underscores
Oh my god.
too. They give
Yeah.
themselves away.
They really do. For me, it's the grammar for me. I mean,
Yeah, it's always fucked up grammar.
I know he mispronounces situation and says situation, but I know he's a smart guy, and there's no way he's going to send someone 18 prayer emojis followed by a sentence that doesn't even make sense.
Zach Bagans does not care enough to just be on his own reaching out to people on
Nope.
social media. Like,
Nope.
no. But
Yeah. Do
yeah,
you have a story that had you shook this week? I think you go first.
I do.
I'm ready
Of
for it.
course. Of course. So I would first like to let y'all know my source for this. Give credit where credit's due. I found my story in The Feminine Macabre, Volume 1, and it's a story written by Jennifer Jones. So she did a lot of really great research and put together a lot of the tea that I will be spilling to you here today about Toni Jo Henry. Just so you know, this starts out as like a true crime thing, and then
Ooh.
it's very much true crime meets paranormal sitch.
Well, you
So
said 3 names, so I'm thinking serial killer?
it's giving that, yeah.
Okay.
Toni Jo Henry is not her real name. She was born Annie Beatrice McKinston, but she's known as Toni Jo Henry. She changed her name to that when she was a kid. She had a really rough childhood, and she ended up in sex work at a really young age. I think at the age of 13, she
Oof.
started sex work, and she changed her name during that time. One thing about her as well is she also got into drugs really bad. And then one day she met a man named Claude Cowboy Henry. And he kind of like swooped in and saved her. Like he helped get her clean off of the drugs and everything. And he really loved her, and she felt very like loved by him, and she loved him so much. It was just like, yeah, he was her hero. But unfortunately, on Valentine's Day in 1940, her husband Claude was sentenced to 50 years in prison. Not exactly sure what he did, but
Hmm.
he did a crime. And so he was sentenced to 50 years in prison. And at that time, they had only been married for a few months. So she had like wedded bliss for a very short time, and then it got ripped away.
That
Um,
sucks.
yeah, she was very upset about that. So she was like, we got to figure out how to get him out. So she devised a plan with her friend Harold Finnan Burks, also known as Arky. So the plan they came up with was to steal a car, rob a bank, and then use the money to hire a good legal team so they could get Claude out of jail. One of the first things they did in their plan of crime was that they robbed a store in Beaumont, Texas, and they stole 16 guns, but they only stole ammo for one of the guns. So That was a little bit of a flop, but hey, they had a bunch of guns, so and at least one of them worked.
Oh my god.
From there, they hitchhiked and eventually they were picked up by 41-year-old Joseph P. Calloway. He was a tire salesman from Houston. And everything was fine until they reached Lake Charles, Louisiana. Archie and Tony Joe pulled guns on Joseph in the car.
Oh
They
no.
made him pull over, exit the vehicle, and climb into the trunk. So they like locked him into the trunk.
No.
So after locking him in the trunk, they drove a ways. They drove down a little side street, and then they ended up seeing like this big hay bale on the side of the road. And then they pulled over. They got him out of the trunk at gunpoint, of course, and
Mm.
led him through a wire fence and led him to the large hay bale. Once they were at the large hay bale, they made him take off all of his clothes and he started praying because he was, freaking out. And then he looked at Tony Joe. And when he looked up at Tony Joe after he was praying, she shot him between the eyes. Um, yeah.
Oh my god.
He was completely naked. Um, and they, of course, just left him there like that. But they took all of the clothes that he had taken off, they took those with him. And they later burned the clothes to burn the evidence. Oh, and
So
also,
sad.
I know, it's really sad. And in the book, they put a picture, like a crime scene photo of his like naked body, like face down and next to the hay bale.
Oh my god.
It's really fucked up.
I hate
I don't
that.
know why they had to do me like that, putting that in the book.
That's just rude, honestly.
It was a little bit of a jump scare when I turned the page, to be honest. I wasn't expecting to see that.
Yeah.
Trigger warning. And so she shot him between the eyes, right? But like in her confessions and things later, she claims that she shot him in the heart. Like she didn't even remember that how she shot him.
Whoa.
Also there's like a quote. I'll read that quote later. It'll probably hit better if I read it later. But there's like a quote that's really interesting about that just shows how little she really thought about that
Oh
murder
god.
and how little thought she gave to it and lack of remorse. So yeah, Tony Joe and Archie grabbed the clothes from the ground. Archie stole his watch off of him. And they also stole $15 out of his wallet. And then they went towards Shreveport, Louisiana. And then that's when they burned his clothing, burned that evidence. After that, they went to Stuttgart, Arkansas. Tony Joe began to get annoyed with Archie's presence
Oh my
and
god.
pistol whipped him and went off on her own. She was like, okay, I don't really need you anymore. You're just a nuisance to me.
Oh
I can
my
handle this
gosh.
from here, thanks. Like,
Oh my god.
I don't know what Archie did.
Lord, a pistol whip? That's just
Yeah. Tony Joe was out here doing the most.
Yeah.
So eventually she confessed everything to her aunt and ended up in police custody. Once in police custody, she was just like telling them everything. She really did. She told them things that they didn't even know like happened. Like honestly, if she had not confessed anything at all, like she probably wouldn't have been prosecuted for it at all, you know? But
Wow.
she just went in there and was just like singing like a canary
Damn,
to
it's
anybody
giving
that would listen.
Eileen Warnos.
Yeah, a little bit.
Kinda.
Yeah. As far as like how tough she was and her background and
Yeah.
yeah. Except Tony Joe was a little easier on the eyes, I will say.
Okay.
Yeah, and Tony Joe was 26 when all this went down. So she was a little younger. still a little more immature. So, Tony Joe was tried and convicted 3 times for the murder of Joseph P. Calloway. So there were 3 different trials. Each one got appealed and then they had another one, and every single time they were like guilty.
Mhm.
And during those trials, Louisiana changed their method of execution from hanging to electrocution. And the electric chair that Louisiana used was known as gruesome Gertie. Gruesome Gertie.
Mm.
So Tony Joe was executed on November 28th, 1942, 2 years after all this went down. She was the first woman to be executed in Louisiana by electric chair, and she was the second woman to be executed at all in Louisiana.
Wow.
So at that time, Louisiana didn't have a whole lot of female
Yeah.
killers or females that needed to be put down, I guess.
Oh my god.
Um,
Not the old Yeller treatment.
yeah. Uh,
She's rabid,
so
gotta put her down.
we got to put her down. So yeah, she's kind of cemented in history for that as well. So before they executed her, they shaved her head, and that was very upsetting to her because she loved her hair. She had raven locks, and she had very thick hair, thick, pretty hair. Yeah, so they shaved her head, and then before they shaved her head, because I think you have to have your head shaved for the electric chair. Um,
Maybe. Yeah, I think so. Makes
so that it
sense.
takes, I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, they shaved her head. She didn't like that. They brought her in to the electric chair, and they, of course, asked her if she had any final words, anything else she wanted to say. And she said, I believe not.
Were those her
I
last
bel
words?
yes, I
Oh my
believe
god.
not. It's giving me, I believe I won't. I don't believe I will, actually. Like, matter of fact, no, I won't. I don't think
None
so.
for me, thanks.
Yeah, I don't believe I will. I don't believe I will partake. Um, so yeah, that's really not funny, but like, yeah, her last words were, "I believe not." As far as
Wow.
would you like to say anything else? And yeah,
Wow.
so backing up a little bit, before the end of her third and final trial, there were rumors about there being a curse surrounding this case. This is very much giving the Omen a little bit, like as far as like
Mhm.
the way things went down. So the state's prosecutor, C.B. Pattison, and her jailer, Deputy Rob Fanguy, died of heart attacks in the summer of 1941. Sheriff Henry A. Reed suffered a stroke while trying to tie his shoe, and District Judge Mark C. Pickerel was charged with vehicular manslaughter after killing someone with his car.
Mm.
So basically, like a lot of people that were in charge of prosecuting her or had something to do with her prosecution or jail time, like they were just dropping like flies. And she
She
didn't have
hexed
nothing to
him.
do with it because she was behind bars. So, but people started saying, like, there's a curse around this. Not only is there that rumored curse because of all of those mysteriously timed deaths, but also the courthouse is rumored to be haunted. The Calcasso Parish courthouse. The jail that she stayed in was actually demolished in 1956, so we can't really look to that location for any hauntings from her.
Mhm.
But yeah, apparently the courthouse is rumored to be haunted. The courthouse where she was sentenced. And here's just like some of the things that people have said about the courthouse. This is something that a lot of employees experience, and that's the scent of burning hair. Like it just comes and goes without explanation or reason, and in just different parts of the courthouse.
Oh my gosh.
Um, and then it just goes away, and there's just like they can't find a source for it, but it's just a regular occurrence that
That's crazy.
it's just common for the employees to experience. Also, allegedly, the imprint of Tony Joe's body ended up being burned into the wood of the electric chair somehow. Allegedly.
Oh,
Gruesome Gertie.
oh my God.
Yeah, which I don't know. I haven't seen any photo evidence of this or anything. I don't know if that's even a physical thing that can happen, but that's what they said. And when her body was taken from the electric chair, the people who were observing her execution, they said they saw a small orb of blue light rise from the chair. Like,
Wowza.
yeah, it's giving soul going back to source to be reincarnated and try again and maybe not kill anybody next time. I don't know. And this one is quite compelling. There's a cleaning lady that didn't want to be named. So in Jennifer's story in the feminine macabre, we call her Mrs. H. So the cleaning lady, Mrs. H, she will not go into the courtroom anymore by herself to clean. And when she goes on the second floor where the courtroom is, she has a buddy with her. They have a buddy system now for the
Okay, good for
cleaning
that.
because one day she was mopping the hallway outside of the courtroom and she like turned a corner and then she saw like standing by the window in front of her a woman with dark hair wearing a white dress, and she like took off running. She left the mop and everything and she went straight to the house.
I gotta go.
She said, I believe I won't. And I believe not. And yeah. And also prior to her actually seeing the apparition of Tony Joe, presumably, she also heard her calling her name too.
That's
So
creepy.
yeah, she heard her like saying her name. She heard it at first as a whisper, and then the second time it was louder. And
She
then when
was
she
like,
went over there,
scrub
she saw.
harder.
Oh, actually, there is an account kind of related to that that
I don't
I'll
believe you. Are you serious?
yeah, there's an account related to that which I'll just read this part because I didn't like write it down. So this is an excerpt from the Feminine Macabre, and it is the story titled The Ghost of Tony Joe Henry by Jennifer Jones. It also seems that if Tony Joe is haunting the building, her ghost has a sense of humor. One afternoon, some staff members had made a mess of the employee break room. Two ladies had gone into the break room, but one left shortly after. The other lady stayed behind to clean up a little. While she was busy tidying up, she heard an exasperated woman's voice say, "Aren't you done yet?" She turned around to say that she was trying her best and was almost done when she realized no one else was in the room. When she finished cleaning, she went back to her office and admonished her coworker for being so rude. Her coworker, who had been sitting at her desk for the last 15 minutes, was utterly confused and didn't know what she had done to upset the other woman. When the lady shared what she had just experienced, they both nervously laughed it off. Something that really interested me with this funny encounter is that while Tony Joe was in jail, she was known to keep both herself and her cell unusually neat and tidy. Yeah. Okay. That's pretty much the end of that like excerpt. But yeah, so Tony Joe was known to be like very like clean and
Yeah,
organized during her time in the prison. So it kind of checks out that she would be heckling the people while they're cleaning.
that's hilarious.
You missed a
Aren't you
spot,
done?
bitch. Oh, the other thing, the other ghostly thing that happened was that there was an old rotating filing system on the second floor, of course, and that is also rumored to be haunted. Allegedly, the cabinet would rotate by itself, even though you have to press a button to make it move. So it like had buttons on it that would like make it rotate around so you could access all your files and stuff, all your files and folders and records. So records also went missing. And there were even occasions when employees came in and found records strewn all over the floor. So somebody just been digging through there, taking
Mm.
liberties. There was a final incident that got the filing cabinet shut down, and that was a woman went in there and found that the filing cabinet was rotating like rapidly, which is not even like the speed that it would turn.
Whoa.
It was just doing it on its own, and she couldn't get it to shut off like by pressing the buttons or anything. Did you try unplugging it? I don't know if she tried to unplug it. Reboot it. She didn't. I don't know if she did all that, but
Turn it off and turn it
basically,
back on.
she didn't really try to unplug it or reboot it or anything like that. She just like stuck her hand in there to like try to stop it, and it ended up
Mm.
twisting her hand, like, and getting an injury from it. And so at
Yikes.
that point, they were like, "We're shutting it down. We're cutting you off, filing cabinet." And so no more filing cabinet after that.
Rip.
So basically, this was one big fucked up love story for this Valentine's episode that in a story that begins on Valentine's Day, 1940. If you think about it this way, there is something very romantic about the lengths that Toni Jo was willing to go to try to free her man. I love him. I'm going to stick beside him. Yeah, that was her man's. And she only got like 3 months of wedded bliss with him. So,
Hmm.
but that's no excuse to kill Joseph. It's no
Nope.
excuse to kill a man and make him get naked and shoot him between the eyes. It's some bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that she didn't give enough thought to the act of killing this man to even remember where she shot him. She remembers shooting him in the heart when she shot him between the eyes. How could you forget that you shot someone between the eyes? That is like,
Unless she killed somebody else.
that's a. I
Who
wonder, you know
knows?
what I wonder? And this is me speculating all to hell.
Wildly.
Yeah, this is wild speculation. I wonder if the crime that her husband was sentenced for was
Mm-hmm.
maybe something that she did or partook in to begin with. Like, I feel like she might have been part of that.
That's a good
And
theory.
he took the fall. And that might be why she's like, I got to get him out. He didn't even do
Yeah.
nothing.
That does sound a
He
little
didn't even do
sus.
nothing.
Yeah.
But, that's very wild speculation. I haven't really seen anyone suggest that
Mm-hmm.
anywhere. So I don't know. But that's just what consider it. Consider that maybe that wasn't her first rodeo with killing a man, and the fact that she could do it and just keep it moving like that. The quote that I have here that really just drives home how little she cared about the murder says, "In the first place, the victim doesn't return to haunt me. I never think of him. That's all. She's not haunted by what she did. She's not
That is
haunted by yeah.
cutting. Wow.
She's not haunted
Wow.
by seeing what she did, because if I shot somebody in the face, that image would probably never leave my mind. I would have to
Oh my
drink
God, no.
myself to death to like get that out.
Yeah, that's oof.
It's sociopath behavior.
Y- Yeah, no conscience whatsoever. Wow,
Yeah.
that's something else right there. I'll say that
Even
much.
though while she was in prison, she did get baptized, and I don't know. I guess she like had some kind of moment where she tried to get right with the Lord or something. I don't know. But Yeah,
I don't know.
that's the story. That's the story of Tony Joe Henry, the true crime paranormal podcast crossover story. And apparently the Calcaso Parish courthouse is haunted to this day. I don't know if you can go there and just be like, "Can I go in the courthouse and see if it's haunted?" Probably not. They're probably doing business in there. So I'm not going to tell y'all, go check it out and see if it's haunted. They're probably doing stuff in there and don't want you in there meddling, but
Right.
maybe there apparently there's somebody that works there in the basement that has a lot of tea, according to the story.
Okay.
I
That's
wish I could stop
fascinating.
yawning.
Oh, it's fine. It's about that time. It's I mean, we're in our 30s. We're staying up too late these days.
I know.
No.
Yeah, so that was my little Valentine story for y'all.
I love it.
Hope you liked it. Hope it inspires you to be a ride or die for your partner as well. But don't kill for them.
Well, that
So,
was great.
so yeah, anyways, what story had you shook?
Oh, girl. Okay, y'all. I pulled a I pulled a Sannah this week.
Oh, you brought your ghost book?
Yes. Okay. I think I mentioned this book in a previous episode, but this is Ghost Stories of Georgia: True Tales of Ghostly Hauntings by Chris Wangler. It's the one that I got up in, oh God, was it Blairsville? I
Dahlonega.
forget.
It was Dahlonega.
Lanaga. Thank you. It was right next to the Bigfoot paraphernalia. Um,
Yep.
and I really really love this book. And when you said you wanted to do Valentine's theme, I was like, that's freaking perfect because there's literally a whole section of this book called Tragic Love.
Oh, hell yeah.
So there's not really a lot of opportunities for jokes as I read this one. I'm actually
Oh,
going to read it to you all because it's a quick story and I couldn't do it justice by just summarizing it. It's just so beautifully written. Props to
yeah.
Chris Wangler. So, and it's not even that spooky either, but you'll see. Okay. Without further ado, this story is called Emma's Light, which takes place in St. Simon's Island, Georgia, which is where Connolly went to high school. Woohoo! So, the story goes. This story is about the fear of the dark, not only the absence of light, but the darkness of death, of loneliness, and of the emptiness that accompanies the passing of a loved one. It is, to quote the Gospel of John, a story about the light which shineth in darkness, and the darkness comprehendeth it not. In a quiet corner of St. Simon's Island called Frederica, there is a very old and simple graveyard called Christ Church. There, among the sea encrusted stones, a flickering, otherworldly light shines in the darkness as a reminder of a little girl's fear of the dark. Same queen. Emma's fear grew out of childhood. Victoria, her leathery old nurse, would enter her room at night, extinguish the lantern, and tell scary stories that she knew by heart. Some of the stories were perversions of famous fairy tales, altered to be much scarier than their antecedents, while others were inventions of Victoria's own twisted mind, reflecting her own childhood fears and twisted obsessions. The stories all revolved around the power of darkness. Being recited in the dark made them even more terrifying to the shy 4-year-old. One of the stories was about little girls who were turned into evil dolls by a witch who lived in a dark cave. In another, a man who lived alone in the woods disguised himself as a friendly old baker. He would come to town saying that he baked too many gingerbread houses, luring away children who were hungry because they hadn't eaten their dinner. When the children arrived at his house, the impostor would imprison them in his dark basement, starve them, and then have his monkey servants bury them alive in a grave behind the house. A character in another story, the Shadow, was also a force of pure evil, obsessed with hunting down little girls who didn't do their chores. Everything he touched died instantly. Victoria's intention was to get Emma to behave, but the effect was much deeper. The little girl became so terrified of the dark that she began to scream during the night. For many months, this went on. Although Victoria was fired for scaring the little girl, Emma never lost her fear of the dark. Emma's parents tried everything to help her overcome her fear. Nothing worked. As soon as the sun set and the darkness crept into the house, Emma's fears multiplied. When her lamp went out and the darkness descended on her room, her horrid cries pierced the night air. Her father, an otherwise understanding man, grew increasingly impatient. One night, he instructed Emma's new nurse to lock her in her room with no light of any kind. By confronting her fear, he reasoned, his daughter could finally beat it for good. The nurse hesitated at first, but performed the uncomfortable duty nonetheless. So basically, exposure therapy, and I don't think it works. Like, I'm terrified of spiders, and I can't even look at a picture of a spider without freaking out. So if I'm inundated with that, it's not going to make me feel better. So, yeah,
No.
bad parenting 101. Okay. That night, Emma's blood curdling screams could be heard nearly a mile away. Soon, everyone was out of bed, gathered nervously in the corridor outside her room. Emma's mother begged her husband to unlock the door and light the lamp. Realizing that his daughter was truly, deeply afraid of the dark, he relented, throwing open the door, lighting a candle, and apologizing profusely to the quivering girl. Emma's father decided then and there to leave the candle burning in her room every night. The next day, he instructed the nurse to buy as many candles as she could find on the island. Over time, Emma became obsessive about her candles. She collected candle stubs wherever she found them, and gradually she learned how to melt them down and to use the wax in new candles. She insisted on a certain kind of beeswax candle, which burned longer than the tallow varieties and cast a brighter light. A cedar box was specifically constructed for them, and she took a handful along whenever she would visit friends. Her one limitation aside, Emma became a normal, well adjusted young woman with many friends. She was a volunteer at her church and a Sunday school teacher. As she matured, she turned her attention to romance. The young man who caught her fancy, Philip, had recently arrived from South Carolina to work as a clerk at a shipping firm. He was tall, intelligent, and gregarious. Their courtship was like a fairy tale. Philip was an accomplished pianist, and on his initial visits, he performed serious pieces by Brahms and Mozart to entertain the family. But as his feelings for Emma deepened, he began to play romantic favorites, fanciful sonatas by Chopin, Beethoven, and Liszt. He would look at Emma with piercing I like this part. He would look at Emma with a piercing glance at the crescendo of each selection. Spicy. Soon they were seeing each other alone. At first, Philip thought nothing of Emma's preference for daytime meetings. Whenever he asked for a nighttime stroll, she created an excuse. He began to wonder about it one September evening when an intense discussion caused them to lose track of time. They sat alone on the edge of a shimmering pond, holding hands, and before either knew it, the autumn sun had dipped under the brilliant pink horizon. "We must get back," Emma said, snapping out of her lover's reverie. Her visceral fear of the dark was taking hold, and she had a desire to tell her beloved about her phobia, but she felt too embarrassed, too ashamed. Her fear, after all, was childish, almost inappropriate. Philip looked at her questioningly, awaiting an explanation. Everything seemed perfect. He suspected something was wrong, but didn't ask as he led her home. The couple was soon engaged. The families on both sides got along extremely well and looked forward to the wedding. Emma's family, however, knew of her fear of the dark, while Philip and his family had no clue. The night before the wedding, Philip came to the house to discuss the final preparations. Everything seemed in order, from the flowers to the guests to the elaborate reception, except for one rather significant matter: Emma's fear of the dark. She had managed to keep it from her fiancé for nearly a year. For weeks leading up to the wedding, she had tried and tried to sleep without her candles lit, tossing and turning and reliving her childhood nightmares. Nothing worked. Now, with her wedding night at hand, she would have to tell Philip. Emma walked to the window and looked out to the garden. Philip approached her and grasped her shoulders from behind. "What's wrong?" he asked. Emma broke down and confessed. "Oh, Philip, I, I'm terrified of the dark." "That's it?" he exclaimed. "How silly! You needn't worry about that, my dear, or anything else. Uh, as your husband, I will love you as you are for all time." That's so sweet. He's such a sweet bean. Okay. Emma was overjoyed. The couple was married the next day at Christ Church in Frederica. They lived for a year or so in Brunswick, then moved back to St. Simon's, where Philip helped his father-in-law manage his growing plantation and related businesses. At first, Philip struggled to cope with the light from Emma's candles. He trained himself to not notice the light whenever it would awake him, but rather to cast his glance on his wife as she slept. The look of tranquility on her face would soon lull him back to sleep. Emma's candles were ideally suited for her life. Some were longer than others to last through the long winter nights, while still others had different wicks depending on the breezes that might enter her bedroom. When they were ready for storage, Emma tied the candles in neat bundles, labeled them by month, and stored them in an impressive wall of cedar trunks in the cellar. Not that she needed so many. Even if Emma had 5 candles burning every night, her supply would have lasted months, even years. Having accepted Emma's obsession with candle making, Philip began to buy her the appropriate supplies so she could indulge the security it brought. But Emma's obsession ultimately took a tragic turn. One day, while lifting a heavy cauldron of boiling wax, Emma spilled some on her arm. The burns were very severe and soon became infected. After home remedies failed, doctors were summoned to the house and announced that she had come down with the yellow fever as well. Emma's condition became steadily worse, and soon she was beyond help. On her last night, the family doctor emerged from Emma's lit room. "Summon the minister," he instructed Philip. "Only heaven can help her now." Philip was heartbroken. With tears welling up, he entered their bedroom. Emma sensed her husband nearby and, in a soft whisper, began to speak. "Philip, my love," she began, struggling to stay lucid. "I have only one final wish. Whatever happens, please keep a candle burning through the night and after I am dead. I don't want to lie in the dark cemetery alone." "Of course, Emma. The light will burn always, like my love for you." Then Emma was gone. She was buried in the Christchurch cemetery the next day. Thereafter, every night at dusk, without fail, Philip rode in a carriage to her gravestone, lit one of her beeswax candles, and placed it in a sturdy lantern. Then he said a prayer for her soul and for his own, that they would be reunited in death. Nothing stopped him in this ritual. Not foul weather, sickness, time, or apathy. Philip never remarried until he himself lay in a grave next to his wife's. He made sure Emma's light shone in the darkness. Today, the light still shines in the cemetery on St. Simon's Island. No one on St. Simon's will disclose the location of Emma's gravestone, and the flickering light goes out when it's approached. But it shines all the same, a symbol of one woman's fear, her husband's promise, and the love they now share in the world beyond. That's like so sad.
It's really sad.
I've read this 3 times, and every time I cry, I'm like, gosh dang it. Like, the fact that he would come to her grave every single night without fail, no matter the
Yeah.
circumstances, like,
If he
oh my
wanted to, he
gosh.
would.
Yes, queen, he would.
If he
He
wanted to, he
would.
would.
That's exactly right. And like, this sounds so sappy, but it's Valentine's Day, so fuck it. I'm gonna say it. I read that, and the way he talks about her, um, when he says, pretty much like he loves her no matter what, and he loves her for who she is. Like, that's the kind of stuff that Connolly will say to me, but not necessarily in those words. He just says, "Be you," like, "I love you for you," and like, I think that's the sweetest thing that you could say to the person you love. Because who wants to be loved for inauthentic reasons, you know? Like it just doesn't hit the same way, you know what I'm saying? So that was depressing as hell, and it wasn't very spooky, but I thought the story was very sweet and um very perfect for Valentine's Day. And there apparently the urban legend is that there are lights in the graveyard and you can see them, but when you get too close, poof, they go away.
I thought it was really a plot twist that she died by the candle wax instead of the house burning down. I was really expecting you to say that, like, the house burned down. Like,
That's what I was
because
thinking the whole time.
that shit, fire hazard out here burning a candle all the live long night every night.
Seriously. But like an infection back then, if you get an
Yeah.
infection, you're fucked.
Yeah.
And then back in the day, you know, yellow fever was running rampant, at least in the
Mm-hmm.
South. And when you get a double whammy like that, like,
Yeah.
but yeah, I thought it was going to be a fire. I was
You're
like, oh,
out.
well, this is easy. You're out. Um,
No.
we love a good callback. Wow, I didn't ever think I would cry on a fucking comedy podcast. Here
Yeah,
we are.
you did cry.
I'm such a sap. I'm such a sap. I love a good love story. When I tell you the first time I saw The Notebook, I wailed. I
Yeah.
wailed. Oh
Yeah.
my
That
god.
one
Like I can't.
that one is rough. And I've rewatched that movie multiple times, and every single time it kills me. And there's just something about, like, an old couple too that's, like, been together for so long and they're like soulmates, you know?
Yeah.
Like, that's what gets me is the old God, in the nursing home. I can't.
Yeah.
I
It
can't.
I can't do sappy stuff like this. Don't do me
I
like that.
can't. Yeah, I can't
I can't
either.
and I won't. Okay, so
Mm-mm.
I do have a
I
palette
believe I
cleanser.
won't.
It's pretty quick, but I have a palette cleanser that is kind of interesting. I'm sure you've heard about artificial intelligence and how AI is
Yeah.
going rampant, literally in every sense of the word. So there's obviously the Chat GPT,
Yeah.
and I've been playing with that a lot lately.
Really?
And yeah, and in the spirit of Valentine's Day, I asked it to write me a love story between two cryptids, okay?
Okay. Hell yeah.
Well, technically a cryptid and an alien. I guess aliens count as cryptids too. I don't know. But AI said, once upon a time, in a far off galaxy, there lived an alien named Zog. Zog was a curious being, always searching for adventures and new experiences. One day, while on a reconnaissance mission, Zog stumbled upon a strange creature known as Veggie Man.
Veggie Man?
This is for you, Mothboy Matt.
Did you put Veggie Man in as a value?
Maybe. I played with it a few times because I was kind of digging. I was looking for this kind of sort of, but it was mostly organic, fresh farm to table organic
Mm.
storytelling. Um, Veggie Man was a cryptid with a passion for all things green and leafy. He lived in a lush forest surrounded by towering trees and fragrant flowers. Despite his love for the natural world, Veggieman was lonely, yearning for someone to share his life with. Zog and Veggieman quickly became fast friends, bonding over their love for adventure and their mutual curiosity about the universe. But soon, Zog realized that his feelings for Veggieman had grown into something more. He was smitten with the cryptid, and he longed to spend every moment by his side. How sweet. Unfortunately, their happiness was short lived. One day, a group of space bandits threatened to destroy Veggie Man's beloved forest, and he was forced to take a stand. Veggie Man rallied the creatures to the forest and prepared for battle, but Zog was torn. He wanted to help his love, but he also didn't want to risk their lives. As the battle raged on, Veggieman was badly injured and Zog's heart shattered. He realized that he couldn't bear to live without Veggieman by his side. In a moment of desperation, Zog made a bold move. He climbed to the top of the tallest tree and cried out to the universe, declaring his love for Veggieman and begging for help. To Zog's amazement, the universe answered his call. A powerful energy surged through him, and he used it to defeat the space bandits and save Veggieman's forest. As Veggieman lay recovering in his arms, Zog finally confessed his love, and the cryptid reciprocated. And so, Veggieman and Zog lived happily ever after, exploring the universe together and spreading love and joy wherever they went. Despite the drama and danger, their love had stood the test of time and proved that anything is possible when you have someone special by your side.
Oh my gosh.
AI
That
wrote
was
that, dude.
amazing. Yeah, that chat GPT thing is like out here coming for everybody's necks. Like,
Seriously.
really, like, novelist who chat
Now,
GPT can just do it.
would you believe it if I told you I asked Chat GPT to write about our podcast and it did it?
What did it say? God.
All right, here we go. Chat GPT said this about Shook. Shook, the hilarious podcast about all things paranormal and unexplained. Are you a fan of ghost stories, UFO sightings, and other paranormal and unexplained phenomena? If so, you'll love Shook, the new comedic podcast that explores all things supernatural and mysterious. Hosted by two best friends with a passion for the paranormal, Shook is equal parts informative, entertaining, and hilarious. Thank you. Each week, they dive into a different topic, whether it's haunted hotels, mysterious creatures, or unexplained phenomena, and provide their unique perspective on the subject. With their quick wit and humorous commentary, they bring a fresh and lighthearted take to a genre that is often associated with darkness and fear. What sets Shook apart from other paranormal podcasts is its focus on humor. The hosts are not afraid to make fun of themselves, each other, and often bizarre topics they cover.
Each other.
Each other. I don't know about that. Whether they're discussing ghosts, cryptozoology, or supernatural events, they always find a way to add a laugh. This makes for a highly entertaining listening experience and is sure to have you in stitches. One of the standout features of Shook is its impeccable research. Oh, heyo. Despite the comedic tone, the hosts take their subject matter seriously and put in the time and effort to provide accurate and reliable information. They draw on a variety of sources, including books, ghost books, articles, and interviews with experts to ensure that their listeners have access to the most up to date information on each topic. In addition to its entertaining content, Shook also has a strong community of fans. The hosts are highly active on social media and they frequently engage with their listeners, answering
Chronically
questions.
online.
Like, what? Chronically, I have a problem. I have a problem. Okay. And they frequently engage with their listeners, answering questions, responding to comments, and sharing their thoughts on recent paranormal events. This makes for a truly interactive experience, and fans of the podcast are sure to feel like they're part of a larger community of like minded individuals. In conclusion, if you're looking for a fun and entertaining way to explore the world of the paranormal and unexplained, look no further than Shook. With its unique blend of humor and expertise, this podcast is sure to become a staple in your listening rotation. So why not give it a listen and discover the strange and hilarious world of the paranormal for yourself?
Oh my God.
Like, no cap, that came out of a fucking AI
That's
thing.
so fucking cool. Chat GPT just gassed us up.
Thank you, GPT.
Like,
Gas.
I loved that they said, like, well researched, because when we prepare, we prepare. Okay.
I guess the only way I got that information about our podcast is I list all of the
The
sources in our show
sources.
notes. Yeah,
Yeah.
every single time. Maybe that's how.
Mm-hmm.
And they be creeping on our socials because they do be looking at the engagements. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. We out here.
We are out here engaging
We're out
with y'all.
Yes. So, anyways,
We're
This
terminally
is probably gonna
online.
yes. But yeah, that's all I've got, and this was kind of might be a long episode. We'll see in post.
But anyways, I'm so ready to make my weekly spaghetti.
Go get that weekly spaghetti.
I'm so hungry. I haven't eaten all day. Oh wait, I did eat earlier. I had a butter chicken.
Ooh,
Yes.
fancy.
Butter chicken. Saffron Road.
Ooh. Sounds good.
Yeah.
You already know where I'm going tonight.
I know you're
You
going to
already
pick up
know.
Connolly.
Yes. Gonna get my husband and we're gonna go get us some good stuff, if you know what I mean.
Zoots.
Taco Bell.
Oh.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Honestly, all I want for my birthday is a retro, or it doesn't have to be retro. I just want a t-shirt with the Taco Bell logo on it. I think
Oh
that's what
my
I want for my birthday.
God.
I think that's what I want.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I think yep. I'm gonna tell everybody I know. And maybe if I tell everybody I know, maybe I'll wind up with like 4 or 5 Taco Bell shirts.
Yes. And you can just wear them like all the time.
Every single day. Like there's a sign there's a sign at the Taco Bell and it says, "Now hiring. Work here and eat for free." And I'm like, "Don't tempt me with a good time."
Yeah.
Unlimited cheesy gordita crunches. Hello.
Oh
Yes,
yeah.
please.
I want
But
some
yeah,
Taco Bell.
well, I
But
want to
I'll
try your
make it
spaghetti.
spaghetti. Oh, you would love it. It's really good. And I'm going to make some for Sonata too. She gets to have some because she's here. She's in the
Yay.
living room studying for nursing school.
Way to go,
Yes.
Sonata.
We're very proud of best friend Sonata.
Yes. Give her a high five for me. Tell her I said what's up.
I will.
But yeah, that's our show. Hope you liked it.
Yeah. Happy Valentine's Day.
Or Galentine's Day.
Or Galentine's
Whatever
Day.
you like.
Or if you ignore the holiday altogether, happy Wednesday.
Yeah, happy Wednesday. And actually, no, wait. Valentine's Day is going to be on Tuesday.
Oh, happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday. Ruby
Uh,
Tuesday. Get you some chocolate.
you
Treat
know
yourself.
what? Just treat yourself regardless. That's what I always do on Valentine's Day because like 9 times out of 10 I am single. So I just like buy my own stuff that I want and I have a great time with the stuff that I bought.
Yep, I think that's the way to do
which
it.
is usually like wine and candy or something, but I still have a great time with it.
Well, since my birthday is literally 7 minutes before Valentine's Day, I just kind of ignore Valentine's Day. Connolly and I have an agreement, like, we ain't got to do all the crazy shit. Like, let's just do what we always do and hang out. Like, we don't have to. We're not going to give in to this Hallmark holiday.
No, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Simply ridic. Okay, we
That
love
being
y'all.
said, if anyone wants to get me flowers, you can.
Yes, P.O. Box. I'm just kidding.
Send them. Yeah, they'll be like wilted.
Send them to Sannah's favorite Mexican restaurant,
Los Arcos.
Los Arcos. I always want to call it Laredo's.
Or La Terraza, just whatever.
Whatever, Sannah. You've got so many not so secret admirers. You're bound to get some chocolate.
Yeah, get at me. I like gifts. I mean, gift giving is my love language to give, but I also do like to receive gifts as well, as some of you know. So yeah. And yeah. And Amanda's birthday, like she said, is the day before Valentine's Day. So as far as Amanda's concerned, it's like Valentine's Day, we don't know her. We only know
who is she?
Amanda's birthday.
Yeah.
Anyways, can't wait to see you soon.
Can't wait to see you
for
soon
your birthday.
too at an undisclosed time and location.
Yeah. I can't wait.
There will definitely be BTS content from that for sure.
Yes, I want all of the Twilight Marathon. I'm gonna make a cocktail and a mocktail, or at least just a mocktail. I'm at least doing a mocktail. I don't know. I might do both, but we're doing it up.
Hell yeah.
But anyways,
We love y'all.
bye.
Bye. Thank you so much for tuning in to Shook. New episodes of Shook drop every other Wednesday on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, soon to be wherever you find your podcasts. Check out our show notes for more information on this week's episode, our social links, and more. Until next time, stay shook. Hey, do you have a personal paranormal encounter that you'd like to share with us? Visit our website, shookpodcast.com, to fill out our contact form. Or you can send us an email at shookparanormalpod@gmail.com.